Okay, so writing a book can also be incredibly narcissistic, right? I mean, it can be certainly put you on the spectrum, right? I mean, there you are digging into all your stuff, especially if you're doing an autobiography. But maybe just in general, doing artwork, you could say, is put you on the spectrum because you kind of need to focus. You need to then get yourself, if you've ever designed a garden and then implemented it, or you've built an app, or you've decided that you want to make a meal, you know that you have to focus. You have to get dialed into that creative process. But if you get too obsessive and you get too dialed in, there is something about losing the plot a little bit. And I just want to say something about that. Narcissism is so misunderstood, and yet we're living in a world that is very narcissistic producing. It's a perfect storm with social media apps, and you can be this, you can be that, and never mind your insecurities. You can build confidence this way, and then there's TV, and then there's a whole world of technology that just has you focusing at a screen, whether it be social media or a computer or all day long, and inevitably, once your attention's on that, of course, we're at the mercy of being fed all sorts of stories or conspiracy theories or truths or untruths and all that kind of stuff. So if you're not dialed in with who you really are, the confidence, and have the confidence to live that, then we're going to start creating more and more of this narcissistic world where you get to be this because you can be that. You can be Mr. Successful or a Miss Mother of the Year or Miss Successful and Mr. Mother of the Year, Mr. Father of the Year. Yeah. So, I mean, it is such a world where we have to have discernment. Yeah. You have to be able to call on your own self. I mean, the myth from the very get-go is confused. Like people don't really understand what the myth is saying. And they keep saying, oh, he just falls in love with himself and he dies. No, that's the beginning of the story. So let's just talk about this for a second, because it does come up in the writing process. If you look at somebody right in the middle of trying to heal a wound, in my therapy office, or even a spiritual passage that somebody's going through, coming to terms with who they are and what they're all about, you can look at it sometimes, and right in the middle of that is going to be, they're incredibly narcissistic. Everything's about them, and it's all about their insecurities, and it's all about their fears or their traumas. And so in the healing phase, it can be very narcissistic, yeah? But if you keep going, if you let the ego die, if you fall into the lake like Narcissus does, and you do die, the ego dies. It's not literally you die, the ego dies. And the whole myth finishes with him being reborn on the banks of the pond as a narcissus flower, right? I mean, so the whole we're getting way too literal. We're getting caught up in the fact that well, I don't want to die, or we got to run away from these mirrors. No, you need to be able to handle a mirror. You need to be able to handle what you're writing or what you're cooking, or you need to be. Sometimes that's scary. We got to turn towards the roar. The roar of the lions is where we need to go. So we stand up straight and we face things. We need to challenge ourselves to come back into the writing. I mean, I'm not letting this thing go. I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure as hell not letting this book. The problem is it's books, and I don't know which one's first. Well, I do now, but I didn't at the beginning because it was so overwhelming. And by the way, a topic like beauty, that's like writing about the moment, or writing about God, or let's talk about an easy thing like mystery. Yeah, I kind of, but I don't have a choice about that. That's my life. That's what I grew up hearing, well, there's Patty, there's himself with himself, as we say. And, he's that guy that that we're his authentic and genuine self. We call that the genuine article at home, right? And you all know that. It's so attractive to have somebody who's so dialed into themselves and in a really positive way, very genuine, very loving, and very much wanting to share with the world, share who they are with the world, which has got lots of beauty and joy and connectivity, and they want to serve the world. They want to bring fulfillment to people. They want to make a difference in the world. They want to contribute. They want to make this place even more beautiful than it was when you're really dialed in. But if we only go halfway in, you end up, which is a lot of what the world is in right now. They're in the middle of the ordeal, and they're thinking it's like being in the pupae phase. There's the caterpillar that gives itself, that starts to die as soon as it starts consuming more than its body weight in a single day. That's its trigger point. And then simultaneous co-arising of all these cells, the imago cells, they call them, start to eat up the old caterpillar. And then the caterpillar, of course, dies, goes into the pupae phase, and then reimagines the whole thing, right? In that. And that's Narcissus falling into the dark, into the depths, right? So that he eventually then becomes transformed. Isn't that what it should be transfiguration, actually. Should be transformation and transfiguration. There's something about both, but because the body transforms, right? Figure, body, so that all happens. And then, of course, the beautiful butterfly that has the color on the caterpillar's back, a red and the green, predominantly green caterpillar chomping away. But that red and green mix together beautifully and show up on the wings of the butterfly at the end. So we hang on to ourselves, but we get upgraded. And that's the great thing about, stories, if you can write them down, which I did with the help of somebody, of these some great stories. The Half Boy story, or Paddy's Three Dreams, or the Irish archaeologist, about the Impossible Dream. Like these stories, I had a hand helping. I did the video on them, and then somebody wrote them out for me. I feel so blessed to have understood my particular Irish way of telling stories, and she transcribed that onto paper. But those stories are real. They're like, yeah, we need to follow our dreams. We need to get into the writing process. And I don't have a choice about this writing of these books. I really don't. Am I on the struggle? Yes. Is my life pointing towards that? Yes. Did I choose this kind of trouble? No. This trouble came to me, and I had to work through it. In fact, I was told that this is the right kind of trouble. We all have to be in some sort of trouble, as we say in Ireland. You just have to be in the right kind of trouble. This is the right kind of trouble. Me and beauty, it's not going to let me go. Like, well, I think I'll go and be a dentist now or something. No. What am I going to do? Put a retirement hat on and just go travel the world and enjoy life? And no, the books aren't out. No, I need to get these things done. And so they're getting done. And in the process, I'm weaving in and out of this narcissistic thing that is sometimes, I got to hang on to for the ride, dig in, get the shovel out, dig deeper and deeper and deeper. And sometimes, because of what I'm writing about, beauty and terror, let's call it that, one of the topics, one of the chapters, beauty does come with terror. Sometimes the terror has a secret, hidden beauty in it, just like trauma does. Just like, there's channel 1. We have channel 1 where we're absolutely, everything's just fine in this world, and there's nothing right about, even when things go wrong, like we break a leg. Oh my God, that's brutal, But on channel 2, it's like, what's right about that? Well, what's right about the breaking the leg is that I needed to stop playing hockey so seriously, because it's not my passion. I'm forgetting about my real gifts, and I'm just, I'm being carried along by somebody else's agenda for me, my parents or some coach or some fantasy idea of me being a millionaire athlete or something like that. So coming back to our senses, coming back to who we are and the beauty, the wondrous beauty that's inside of us, of course, is what I have to write about. Well, I can't do that if I'm not doing that with myself. So I have to discover that. So how do I discover that? I have to get the shovel out. I have to dig in. I have to be willing to die and fall into the lake. Sometimes I'm a freaking narcissist on the banks of the river. Sometimes I am absolutely not. And I'm dying in the middle of the process. And sometimes I'm at the beginning again. So all of that to say is that, yeah, it's a step along the way in the creative process that, because I've certainly built gardens and I've written books and I've got other creative things that I've done. I've done sculptures and this creative process is very challenging. This one in particular for me is very loud, and but the truth is there's lots there. Like there's no other wiggle. There's no other place for me to be in the struggle, right? Yeah. Other times it's an absolute joy, and other times it's an absolute struggle. So there you go. So don't be shy about dying. It's just ego death. Every day is a good day to die. Die into the whatever is showing up for you today is what's supposed to be showing up for you, and it's showing up for me. And right now I've got to focus on getting myself shit showered and shaved so I can get to the writing. Ciao.